Howdy, howdy, everybody out there in YouTube land. I wish I could find my mouse, but it has been lost for me. Ta-da! Yeah, can you find my mouse for me?
Yeah.
You're the one that lost it. Where is it at?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Go find it. I got two of them, and you lost both of them.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you wouldn't be all wet if you didn't spray yourself with a water bottle. You got it right there. I can see it. You did it. Look, your whole shirt's all covered in water, and you got the water bottle right there. Caught you red-handed. Yeah, I don't want it. Don't spray me. Okay. Anyway, so today what we want to talk about is, and this is perfect, right? You got kids running around, all that stuff. We're talking about if you're just getting started in a home game, if you're playing cards. That's it. We're not, there's magic application, cardistry applications. What we're talking about today is just handling the cards if you're getting into cards. If you're just playing cards, if you're doing whatever. If you're picking up a deck of cards, you want to look cool for your friends, have an extra skill set. We're just going to talk about a couple of basic things that you can do, such as the overhand shuffle. We're going to talk about the riffle shuffle. And by no means was that a good application of the ripple shuffle. Much better. Okay. We also want to talk about potentially doing a home game with, if you're going to do some table shuffles. Yeah. Maybe you're going to do a little bit of a strip cut. All of these things we want to talk about today, and most of these things are right out of the complete course in Magic. Now, the other thing we want to talk about, especially if you're trying to accentuate your skill set and to really look good and flourish, a nice table spread is good, as well as a fan. Okay, later on we will get into potentially doing some one-handed cuts and things like that, and potentially we will also talk about card springs and dribbles. But for now we're going to keep it to the basic three. It's going to be shuffling, overhand shuffle, riffle shuffle, spreads / fans, because they're kind of similar. Okay, so now let's talk about the overhand shuffle with a deck of cards. But before, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We also want to talk about the cards themselves and how you hold them. This is a dealer's grip. And the reason why we want to talk about the dealer's grip like this is because what you need to do is you hold it with your pinky at the bottom, your index at the top, thumb along the side, as well as two fingers holding it. Not like it's secure, but not too tight. Then you want to take your thumb when you're ready to deal and just push off the one card from the top so it's easier to grab as you're going to hand out these cards. So this is how you would deal, right? Very nice. Okay, so that's just a good way to start. Just make sure you're holding the deck, because you're going to start from here, and even if you go into a fan here, or if you're here from dealing and you're going to do a spread, you're transferring from the dealer's grip for almost everything that you do there, especially if you're going from the dealer's grip to a perpendicular grip like this to go into the overhand, right? But we want to talk about the cards as well. We have spot cards, and we have face cards. Okay, and we also have different suits. We've got hearts, diamonds, which are the red ones, and then we have the spades and clubs, which are the black ones. We also have the ace of spades, which is a power pip. Now, some designer cards will actually have power pips, bigger spot on all of the aces, or even on some of the other cards. So just something to keep in mind, especially if you want to do a nice home game, buy some custom cards. That way, if it's a themed party or whatever, you can really stand out. And that's really what this video is all about today, is helping you stand out in your home game. Okay, so now that you are familiar with the cards, we've got the short end and the long end here, you're going to want to put it into a perpendicular grip like this, just so that the cards are secure, so that they're not falling all over the place. Mostly just have fingers on this side and this side, and then you're going to take the other hand and you're just going to grab packets. Okay, so this is the whole deck, right? When you cut off a break there, you're cutting the deck. That's the cut. Okay, you're cutting off packets to cut. Okay, so that's going to be relevant there. So most of the same terminology that you would use in your hands also works on the table. So now you're just grabbing off packets, and you can either just throw the packets doing hand cuts basically. Or as you grab one packet, you just slowly grab, you can throw them, or you can grab them with your thumb, a little bit more control there. Okay. Alternatively, you can let the cards fall as you mix them in throughout the other packet, which gives you a good mix as well. Now, all of this in later lessons, just as a side note, all of these things can be used to control the cards, because you can do a very good false shuffle with an overhand shuffle. But we're talking about honest home games and just looking good in general. Notice how I keep going back to the spread, because it just looks so good, and I want you to get used to these movements and how they work together. Okay, once again with the overhand shuffle, try to keep all the cards in a uniform fashion. You can tap them, just make sure that it looks pretty good. There you have it. There's a nice overhand shuffle back into the dealer's grip. From here, you're going to grab it on the long ends, twist it over, cradle the bottom of the cards here with these 4 fingers and have your thumb at the top. And then you will put a bow in the card by pushing here or bending your knuckle. And you're going to split off half the deck or packet and mirror that in the other hand. So now you got your thumb at the top, whatever method works best for you. And then, for a little bit of control, keep those packets nice and tight and secure. And then let one card fall off at a time until you get this kind of meshed interlacing pattern, right? Okay. Then you're going to use your thumbs to hold it here as you bow the outsides, and then open your hand up to let everything fall. Now, obviously, anytime that you do something slow like this, there's a chance, and just like I put it down and everything, but it's going to look really nice with a little bit of practice. And you're definitely going to want a good bridge in your home game, okay? Because this is going to accentuate the flow of things. Now, at some point in your journey, you may want to learn some one-handed flourishes. See, that's a bad example. So depending on their deck as well, you also have to know the difference between a new deck versus an old deck and how things clump together, especially if they've gotten wet before and things like sweat and whatnot. So you basically want to, maybe at some point you want to learn how to do a flourish like this. Now, you definitely don't want to be known as a card cheat, okay? And that's typically, if you're in a home game, you can show off your moves like that just to impress your friends. But definitely wouldn't recommend doing that in a professional or backroom game. There's movies that have talked about this. Okay, so that's a good riffle shuffle. Now, I do want to talk about, it might take you a little bit to get to the one-handed, but let's talk about some variations on the bridge. So you can transfer everything to this hand, holding it nice and neat here. Stretch out your hand to both sides and do that bending motion while using the palm of your hand here and your fingers at the bottom to hold that, and then you can do kind of a one-handed into the hand there like that. Let's say you really want to get, special, you can do it upside down. Okay, so you have options. So not only doing it upside down, you could also do it right side up. That one didn't work as well. Plus we're trying to do it backwards. There we go. Okay, so there are some variation options on the bridge, and you want to tie all these things together. And then be able to fan out the cards. Now, why would you want to fan out the cards? Obviously, as a nice little flourish, it accentuates the pattern, especially if you're doing it backwards. Hey, take a look at my beautiful cards here. Or you might want to show that the cards are in fact shuffled up. You got some aces together there, but they're towards the bottom. That's fine. That's all random. Okay, so how to do the fan, or yep, the fan here. The one that we're going to show you here, there's some variations, is you want to move the deck up, so you're holding it with your 2 fingers here at a little bit of an angle to the back, and you're going to hold the front with your thumb and play around with that angle for your hand shape and size. And then you want to grab the deck. You can use one finger, but I recommend holding the top and the bottom just to make sure that the cards stay kind of in place. And when you get better at it, the card should almost just go into the fan. Now this is a somewhat of a tighter fan. What I like to do after I do the fan is, depending on if some cards stick, you can actually go back over and stretch out the cards, which gives it this wider look. Now there's some applications that you can do with the fan that we may talk about in later videos. You can also do like that kind of riffle over the top, things like that. Now you can also do a thumb fan, which works similar the same way. Instead of using your index finger, you just use your thumb. And there's also a pressure fan that you can do, which makes it look really nice. And I would definitely work on that pressure fan because it just looks like an auto fan, if you can pull it off, to get it as even as possible. But then there's also some other things that you can do, like an under pressure, which I do not practice enough. So a nice spread on the pressure fan, but we're learning things today here. So with the pressure fan, and I just don't practice any moves like this as much as I should. You want to come about halfway out, and then when you've got a good portion of the pack here, you just keep squeezing and then let out some of those cards. Now what will happen when you first start, and I'm still a beginner at it, the cards will either go too slow or they will shoot out like that out the back, okay, until you get a good angle on it. And the same thing will happen when you're doing the card spring. Okay, sometimes they'll shoot out this way, sometimes you won't catch them, and that's exactly where I'm at with the under pressure. Okay, I can do it, but not controlled. So it's definitely something that we can practice later on, but it's something that you want to think about. Now let's talk about the table spread, which is probably, we've kind of jumped ahead here, but that's okay, we'll circle back. So with the table spread, doing a nice little angle kind of accentuates you, and it kind of like gives you a nice little aura and keeps the cards in a nice way. You can also do a straight pattern, and you can flip them over with your fingers. And I definitely recommend having a close-up pad or a felt tabletop, like a pool table. Anything like that, which will grip the cards, will work really well. I even do this on a tablecloth, even though it's a glossy surface. It still grabs it more than like a smooth surface. But I definitely like doing that. That looks really nice, and you can still do your turnover move. And if you really want to get real nice with it, you can even separate it into two piles and then bring it together. Okay, so that's going to be your little lesson for that today, but now we're going to circle back because we forgot about the table shuffle, especially if you're in a home game. So basically the way that let's make sure we don't mix up the deck here, which we will hint at the end here. Well, I've talked about it in other videos, but you might want to be careful using a deck like this in a home game. But let's talk about a table shuffle, especially if you want to keep everything copacetic in your home game and as authentic as possible. So you don't ever want to lift the cards off the table. You don't ever have to do anything like this. You keep everything right here. And what you'll want to do is you're going to do basically a table riffle, which is going to pick up the two packets like this, letting them fall onto the corners of each other, push them in like that, and then just complete up the cut. Now, another thing that I have been practicing or learning, I haven't really got it down yet, is a table riffle, or a table bridge rather, where you bend the cards up, and it's really, it's a tough one. So that was probably one of the best I've ever done. So that's what it kind of looks like on the table. Once you get it really nice, it's definitely something you want in your home game. I will be practicing that some more as we go along here. So you want to do this maybe 2 or 3 times, just pushing them together. And then let's do one more, not counting the bridge that we did. And then you want to do a strip cut, which is basically just pulling off packets from the top, 1 or more cards, and then dropping the rest on top. Okay, and that's basically a cut. So think about that. So let's say somebody's trying to control cards. You're cutting off the bottom packet, which may or may not be relevant if you're trying to preserve the top. But by stripping off the top cards, if you have a stack in there somewhere This is going to prevent that because you're moving cards, you're reversing them in order so that you're no longer going to be able to deal them out the way that you want. Now, there are ways around that, but that's for later videos. So, now that we've done the 3 table riffles, we've done a strip cut. The last thing that we're going to do is use a joker. Now, typically this would be a black card or something of that nature, where you would cut the cards to the table to preserve whatever the bottom card was. If you're trying to preserve a stack or whatever, you can't see the bottom card, so you don't know where you are in your setup. So now the deck would be ready to deal. Now you potentially would leave the cards on the table and wouldn't even pick them up, and you would simply deal out your cards. Now let's say you're going to show the first card. Okay, and then you're going to put the second card down. Beautiful. We've got ourselves a 4-handed game going here. Then we're going to burn a card. If I have my rules right here. It's been a little bit. Having 3 cards out. Now look at this. We've got 2 10s showing. We've got kings showing, so we've already got 2 pair. Now let's take a look in an open hand, what everybody else has got going on here. That would be a good hand in a different game. So we have nothing in the bottom, but we've definitely got 2 pairs showing here. So we both know that we've got 2 pair showing. Nothing here, and potentially nothing over here. So let's say these 2 people are going to fold, just for the fun of it. Nothing there. And let's just play out the hand. And it looks like I would, well, that doesn't necessarily mean anything because you can only use the 5 cards, so I can't do 3 pair, 3 of a kind. So in this particular situation, I would win with a 9 high. So that's what we've got going on there, just for the fun of it. Now that we're at the end of our game here, this is a one-way back. So this is definitely something that you want to be mindful of in a home game. So we're going to talk about a couple of secrets, tips, tricks, things to be mindful of if somebody else is bringing the cards, or if you're looking to buy some cards. So these are 7-Eleven brand cards, which have a very, I would say, smooth level one-way back design, which is that the 2 lines here are different colors to match their theme, red and orange. Now if you turn one card over, that card now sticks out for your eyes. If they don't know about it, they're not going to be able to really see that. So definitely be mindful of that. And there's way more deceptive one-way designs from other decks that I've seen. For instance, a spiral that starts at the center will spiral out from, say, the left. If the card is backwards, then it's spiraling out from the right. So just something to be mindful of is that there are different ways to cheat that don't really require controlling the necessary cards, but simply by having cards turned in the deck that only they can see. Some other things that might happen is they may put dots at different corners to, 1, let you know what the card is, or 2, tell you, any number of different things if they put different dots or color in different spots. Especially if you have a deck, like this is a lighter deck design, but let's say you have a darker deck design and you put like a little dot, you might not see it. Like if it's a blue deck, it's a dark blue deck for bicycle, then you're not going to really notice it right away, but they'll be able to spot it because they're looking for it. So this is something that you might want to be mindful of in your home games. If you're worried about somebody cheating, then just potentially just have fun with it. If there's any money on the line, though, you want to make sure nobody's cheating. So these are some skills that a beginner could definitely take to heart and just get really good at, just to flourish, show off to your friends. It's also a good foundational start to when you want to, if you want to get into magic or cardistry, you just want to be really good with handling the cards. And that means standing up or sitting down, whether you're doing stuff in the hands or on the table. You just want to be mindful of where everybody's at and how you're, just how you're being perceived. Because if you're performing, everything should look fluid and look good and look like that you know what you're doing. And if you're in a game where you want to impress your friends, it's kind of a similar thing. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you stay for more complete course in Magic, tutorials, tips, tricks, all the fun stuff. Thank you, everybody, and we're going to have more videos coming real soon. Stay positive, stay active, and stay awesome. And we'll see you in the next one.